This AFC South preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Circus Sports. Circus Sports is giving away $14 million this NFL season. Sign up in Vegas and play from anywhere. Get all the info over at circusports.com. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app to get last minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code SGPN for $20 off. And of course, we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Get in and draft Best Ball Mania 4, which has a $3 million first place prize. Sign up with promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100.
This is Nate Collins. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
We're here to discuss our favorite division.
Oh, the AFC South. Yeah, love
is
us
it
some
not?
AFC South.
I feel like we're honorary AFC South fans at this point. We have adopted teams from the division, much like a abused and lonely dog. We have given them pep talks and spoken sternly to them when they needed that talk. Hashtag tighten up.
Yes,
that led them to great success. And honestly, the division comes with maybe my favorite. As I was starting to look at, shout out to the sheets, because as I was building the division standings, I was starting to also think about the quarterbacks. And boy, I don't know if there's a more delightful bunch of quarterbacks than CJ Stroud, Ryan Tannehill, Anthony Richardson, and Trevor Lawrence. And oh, by the way, you're telling me Gardner Minshew could enter the party? This is a fucking boy band.
This also is, yeah,
it's a boy band. Davis Mills with his long neck.
Yes, the hair alone, you're right, could really get a boy band going.
And then we got Will Levis and Malik Willis like battling it out behind the scenes, background dancers. Maybe it's like an old doo-wop band or something like that. You got the guy playing the trumpet. That's probably who's the backup in Jacksonville that made that really awesome play. That's that guy. He gets those 15 seconds of solo. Nathan Rourke, former CFL god. Again, if you want to have fun, just Google Nathan Rourke championship. Excellent man, showing a lot of drip. Anyway. And love this division.
Jake in the YouTube chat pointing out Tajay looked really good for the Titans. He had that breakout play. It looked pretty sweet.
Yes, I love the running backs looking sharp in the preseason.
Yes, but we stand with running backs.
Yeah, of course it's easy to run block shit when the defense isn't doing anything.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's like it's man on man shit. So you can be impressed when man on man shit happens.
I thought it was.
He looked slippery and he looked electric.
Yeah, and I think we'll get in if we got some preseason takes. Again, we were on a nice little stretch there from the week 2 preseason picks podcast. Kramer 2-0 on his locks. I'm 1-0. With one outstanding, even producer Josh 2-0, so a combined 5-0 on our preseason locks.
I love
pretty good look against the spread. Fighting it once again with Trey Lance stands in my mentions. It was.
God, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I mean, I seek it out at this point. I really do. I mean, that interception by Trey Lance was horrific. I thought also Desmond
stand down. Trey Lance stands.
I watched. I watched a decent amount of these games this past weekend. Ryan, Desmond Ridder. A little rough there with the offense, throwing behind guys, interception right at the goal line.
I cannot dispute that. I like maybe Arthur Smith again, lifestyle choice, not for everyone. Maybe he looked at Dable and was like, I heard Dable was making training camp and preseason tough for Dan Jones, and that's what broke him. That's what got him in the right mentality to move forward. Yeah, I'm not behind guys. I don't need to this. Let's wait for the regular season to have takes on Desmond Ritter.
Regular season right around the corner.
Regular season Ritter, I like to call him.
we got a bunch of stuff to get to. First off, a big thanks again to everyone who tuned in to draft day. Of course, everyone who donated. Shout out to the fantasy football endurance athletes, Ryan Kramer, Andrew Robb. Ryan's rocking the sweet endurance athlete shirt. And again, we raise currently, and there's still time to donate if you want to toss a couple bucks. I know the I Am Able Foundation is stoked. We hit our goal of 10,000. We're sitting at $10,100. Adam Pelletier's parents donated. They were like and we matched their donation. They were like the last ones to help get it over the finish line there. So again, big thanks to everyone who donated, everyone who came on the stream. Huge success, and it was awesome. So
I heard, again, super fun time. Lots of awesome guests. I was challenged man to man about my Dan Jones ownership. We persevered.
That was a highlight when the guest goes, "Is that a real number? 58%."
I mean, clearly he was joking with me. He was impressed. And I will say though, Sean, I think we talked about this on the stream. Did check in the next day like a good friend in Vegas, making sure you've had something to eat.
Ryan has gotten some sleep. He's ready to go, and let's do it. We got a big announcement starting.
What's the announcement music you're gonna use?
Okay, I was gonna use this.
Oh,
listen to those trumpets blare. We're heading out to the Circle Las Vegas for the sign up weekend, but also big news. Starting this Friday and every NFL Friday nights will never be the same. That's right. Sports Gambling Live. We're going to be on VSiN, live on VSiN Friday nights, 9 o'clock to midnight on the West Coast. The D-Gen Witching Hour. Again, Friday, we're debuting our first live show. Get VSiN on the YouTube, on YouTube TV. That's how we watch it. Got a special guest lined up.
You mean the same YouTube TV that you're using to watch Sunday Ticket?
Yes. So again, every Friday, every NFL Friday, we will be live from the Circa in Las Vegas. Big thanks to VSiN, big thanks to Circa, and of course, thanks to you, the D-Gens, for supporting, subscribing. I know you guys are going to tune in. It's going to be awesome.
And we should probably just because we should also always thank Derek.
Yes. Big thanks to Derek. And again, we're going to be out there this Thursday to Saturday, August 24th through the 26th. Of course, we are going to be signing up for the Circa Million, Circa Survivor. I highly recommend between now and when the season kicks off, get out there, sign up in Vegas, play from anywhere. $14 million guaranteed. Up for grabs. Again, the contests are just awesome. If you need help finding our proxy, hit us up. We can take care of you there. Circusports.com for all the details, Ryan.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. So, all right, now we're into our division previews here, counting down the days. We got our college football week 0 picks podcast later on in the week. Football is happening.
You know what I feel like right now? I feel like
we
got our feet up on the table. Not really, but metaphorically speaking. And we're just perusing through a Rolodex of bets we've placed.
Yes.
And really this
couple
episode,
new ones too.
Honestly, again, some of these teams we did a couple weeks ago. So I've had time to let those takes marinate. Do I still like them? Do I not like them? We also have data, Sean.
Yes.
I don't know if we want to lead off with this.
We do. So again,
do we want to lead off with the data?
Yeah, we
yes.
When we walk through these schedules, we pick the games. We're completely freestyling these. At least I am.
Be honest, you don't actually try to calculate anything ahead of time,
no,
right? Yeah,
no.
same with me.
As far as the grand scheme of making all the win totals work out exactly, because obviously if you have every team going 10-7, that's impossible.
I mean, be honest. How many times are you certain of a pick before we start recording? Yeah, I mean, I would say
I got the chats involved. I got a little whiskey.
One-third of the teams. I'm with you.
It's like a witch's cauldron. I gotta stir it up. There's a bunch of different ingredients that come up for a lock. So we actually crunched the numbers. Kramer miraculously only one game off from the exact 272.
Kind of got there pretty. I mean, the way I got there was pretty amusing, though.
So yeah, Kramer has 273 wins. So he has to get rid of one win throughout this process of doing the division previews. I'm 276, so I'm 4 wins off. So I have 4 wins to play with. I like that because I'm going to use one. I'm going to downgrade one of these teams 1 win as we go through this. You were 13 and 19, 13 overs, 19 unders.
Yes.
I was 15 and 17.
Give me the sword sound effect because that is sharp.
Just pounding those unders.
Which, by the way, we had the exact same record prediction, cumulative for the NFC, which seems also pretty random.
Yeah, how does that happen?
We're locked in.
We are locked in.
2 sharps on the same side. Yeah, pull out that flip phone.
Pull out that flip phone. All right, should we get to it? You want to talk?
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk AFC South.
Let's go.
So bottom to the top, right?
Yeah,
that's how we. Strangely, we did it top to the bottom last year, and it didn't seem right. It was all wrong. So we're gonna go bottom to the top. Houston.
Yes.
So Sean, not surprisingly, and at some point, there will be the Patreon will have some sort of historical reference at some point.
Yes, and the Patreon sheet is updated with all of our win loss for each team, the over unders, all listed out in one beautiful grid. And speaking of the Patreon, we are recording our first bonus SGP Stories episode tonight, right after this. So look for that if you're in the Patreon, if you're a smart person doing your part in the war against corporate gambling. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. Our Kramer and I are going to record an episode, The Birth of SGPN, where we walk through how we got things going. And just the journey of SGPN, again, ad free, uncensored. So look for that tomorrow, aka today, depending on when you're listening to this episode. All right, yeah, let's talk Houston. I had them going 6 and 11. You had them going 9 and 8. I'm actually going to use, and I don't know how we want to do this, Ryan, but I would like to decrease the Texans by 1 win. Yes.
Wow. So preseason take here. You didn't watch the second preseason game.
Oh, I did.
You waited. You first one. You're like, I'm out on CJ Stroud, and that's that.
No, I'm not. Well,
yes.
I just 6 wins feels high for this Texans team after rewatching them.
I'll buy that.
I was already on the under 6.5. I had them at 6 and 11, but I'm going to knock them down to 5 and 12 officially.
Sean, are you new to the show? What are you doing?
What do you mean?
This isn't what we do. We talk ourselves into the Texans.
Oh no, not this year.
Oh, so that means you're also out on the week 1 long shot play
in Baltimore. Yeah, John Harbaugh gets up for week 1. I do think that's actually a good spot for the Ravens. I do like some other dogs, and again, not to spoil our week 1 NFL picks podcast because that's right around the corner. But again,
so you're going to take a win away.
My future for the Houston Texans, because we're going to do a future and prop for each team.
Yes.
My future for the Texans, give me under 6.5 wins. And even now I'm feeling even better. 6 and 11 feels too high.
You know,
give me 5 and 12 for the Houston Texans.
You not see Will Anderson? Dude looks like an alpha.
No, I 6 games is a lot for this Texans team.
All right. So I think, I went a little bit more off the rails with this exercise. I'm obviously, I'm not changing their wins 9 and 8. I like that prediction. I'm obviously standing strong with the over. But I thought it'd be fun to give out some proper futures here. So for my future, give me an exacta box with the Texans and the Titans 20-1.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
I'm with you on the Titans. We'll get to that, but yeah.
Which, by the way, this is readily available at many different places, mainly DraftKings.
Yeah.
So, look, I think this is another year where I'm just betting on the Texans. Just the way it's going to be. Can't help it. Can't help it.
Again, just the
CJ Stroud. I mean, transition to the props, but CJ Stroud's winning Rookie of the Year. Will Anderson's winning Rookie.
So
of the Year.
you double Rookie of the Year. I mean,
double Rookie of the Year.
It sounds crazy, but obviously it did happen with the New York Jets last year.
It just happened.
Again, kind of why I was high on the Jets is that they had the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. How bad could that team be? For me,
well, Joe Flacco did play games.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the prop I like most is, and obviously I've been snatching him up a ton in Underdog Fantasy Best Ball, but yeah, give me Dameon Pierce to have the most rushing yards, 35-1. That's still, like, combing through all the Texans stuff, that's still my favorite bet. And I know what you're saying. Hey, how can you be out on the Texans and still think they're going to get a ton of rushing yards? Easy. The Las Vegas Raiders last year, 6-11. Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing yards, and I see a very similar scenario happening for this Texans team. I think they're going to use that San Francisco style offense, bunch of read option stuff. He's one of their best playmakers on offense, I think, by a decent margin. John Mechie's in there. I like, who are the receivers is really exciting. I think it's just gonna
Robert
be
Woods,
yeah.
Nico Collins.
Yeah, I still think it's just
Tank Dell.
I think it's gonna be Tank Dell again as like a last round pick in best ball. I don't hate at all, but yeah, give me Dameon Pierce 35-1.
I fucked up. I should have made it John Mechie comeback player of the year. Really like the value there. You know what it is, Sean? You're out on the Texans, but you're in on value. That's how you can get down on Dameon Pierce at 35-1.
No,
it's the Niners. It's the Shanahan.
You can have a bad offense and still get a ton of rushing yards, and I don't see much competition from him. Like, I don't think Devin Singletary is stealing a ton of work from him. I think they're just going to run the ball a decent amount. And, if CJ Stroud's going to have success, or at least how they're going to set him up for success, is play action stuff. So yeah, I think Dameon Pierce is just going to get a shit ton of carries.
Fun fact, Bobby Slowick,
yeah,
the offensive coordinator who came over from San Francisco with DeMeco Ryans, he started his career as a defensive assistant for the Redskins. Then
sounds like a guy who likes to run the ball.
Then for the 49ers. And then the 49ers flipped him over to offense. So go figure. Could this be a Joe Judge, Patricia situation here where guys on the wrong side of the ball? Maybe I should be looking to take a win away here. Also,
you only have one win the entire division previous round, so
I'm not
may not want to use it here.
Not here. Texans, lock it in. I know I've spoken highly about fading other rookies and their win totals.
Yeah. See, rookie quarterback, rookie head coach. I think the ceiling isn't that high.
The system allows,
and I feel better. The more we've gone through the process, feel really good about their under.
It's good that you feel better. Colts again, another 6.5. Which, by the way, the Colts opened at 7.5. Let's not remember. And we early in the process, at least I did, spoke about how we were going to fade Anthony Richardson and this Colts situation. You were more in the beginning. You were a little bit of a Shane Steichen sympathist, and but at the end of the day, when brass met the tax, what is that? How you say it?
That's not even close.
5-12 for both
brass
of us.
Tax.
5-12 for both of us. So, you came back down to earth. I think I was probably a little higher than I thought I was going to be.
No, you don't. If you listen to me on the show, I'm saying I find Anthony Richardson interesting as a fantasy football player because I think I had
very early in the process, you were micro interested in the idea that they could be a decent team. I think we were by the pool, maybe out at Stadium Swim, and I don't believe you were flaming cold with them.
Okay,
but I would say with them being 5-12, to me that makes it a clear under.
Yeah.
The prices out there. We kind of in the team preview we talked about it, but there weren't a ton of bets we loved when it came to like how the team was going to perform. But when I combed back through and thought about it, and I think I gave this out on the show, I really like them at fewest wins for a number of reasons because I think it just could go so bad. I think your angle is correct.
Yeah.
But Justin Fields was just that in a 3-13-1 season or 3-14 season where they had the worst record.
No, that's a great comparison.
So the fact that they're not the favorite is nice, and you're getting 14-1 here. Same it was when we did this preview back maybe 20 some odd days ago.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, the future is the Colts under 6.5 wins. Yeah.
Cosign. I mean, I got
And
7.5 in my pocket. Not bragging.
The Jonathan Taylor weirdness stuff certainly isn't helping.
He's fine.
Their offensive line, I think, could be an issue. But getting to my prop, something I didn't give out on the team preview, but I really like Anthony Richardson, most quarterback rushing touchdowns. What do you think that's priced at, Ryan? Just comparing him to other quarterbacks.
So really, you're comparing him to who?
Justin Fields,
Justin Fields, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're missing someone. Lamar Jackson. So it's not many though. So it's like it's 6 or 7 legitimate chances, and most of those guys have what 6.5 to 7.5, maybe 5.5. I would imagine his has to be. Maybe they only made his 4.5. So then he would. I don't know. He's still got to be a pretty decent long shot. 20 to 1,
15 to 1.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson, Jalen Hurts is the leader at -140. Josh Allen +650. Lamar Jackson 7 to 1. Fields 7 to 1. Anthony Richardson, big jump up at 15 to 1.
But where's Dan Jones on that list?
He's 20 to 1.
Whoa. He's gonna play this season at least. We can't say that about Anthony Richardson.
I mean, Ryan Tannehill at 100 to 1 is pretty interesting because he's had 2 years where he had 7 rushing touchdowns.
Dude, you're melting into Ryan Tannehill this year. It's great. You're fully into Ryan.
It's weird over on DraftKings. They have some quarterbacks listed for most overall rushing touchdowns, but they don't have Anthony Richardson listed there yet. So again, they have like Deshaun Watson 150 to 1, some of these other quarterbacks in there, but not. They have Josh Allen 60 to 1.
Oh, so this is leading the entire league in.
Yeah. So
sorry, I misread you. Oh, okay. So
No. You're again.
It's smoking my weed.
They don't have Anthony Richardson listed for the most rushing touchdowns in the league. But they do have some quarterbacks listed. For instance, Josh Allen, he's 60 to 1 to lead the entire league. He's +650 to lead the quarterbacks. Daniel Jones is 60 to 1 to lead the entire league. He's +2,000 just to lead the quarterback. So I think even there, you can find some value comparing these two different markets. All right. So again, the Richardson prop we hadn't got to, but just watching him in preseason was very fun in like the design run stuff, just how big he looks and how fast he is and how tough he is to take down. And even if Jonathan Taylor, I don't think he's going to miss the entire season.
Is
but
he missing time? Like, is that a possibility?
Well, it's a combination of the ankle injury, the drama with Irsay.
Well,
I could see
him and Colby are aligned on something.
Well, I could see, let's say Jonathan Taylor re-aggravates that ankle. How hard is he going to be playing, especially if this team isn't good like we think they won't be? How hard is he going to be fighting to get back on the field to play for Irsay and the Colts? So I think that stuff alone makes him interesting to rack up some rushing touchdowns. Again, Jalen Hurts is the favorite for a reason, but 15 to 1 most quarterback rushing touchdowns feels pretty fun.
Oh, it's a great bet. I mean, look, it's the way it has to happen if it's going to work.
Yeah.
So sure, maybe if Jonathan Taylor's there, he's getting the touchdowns to keep him happy or whatever, because the coach can control that. It's not ownership that's controlling that. You imagine Irsay making the call down. Don't give that motherfucker the ball inside the 5. And then Anthony Richardson just racks up the rushing touchdown. It's kind of a fun conspiracy angle to use if you're giving this out on any hit, Sean. You can use that. The Irsay hates Taylor now and doesn't want to see him score touchdowns.
No, Shane Steichen, he's got to play by the rules. He's a new head coach.
Well, this is excellent.
Serial in the chat saying, is there a head-to-head interception pass touchdown for Richardson? Yeah, it could be. It could be that's kind of 12 rushing touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 12 passing touchdowns. He really.
He could have a Jameis like a Bizarro Jameis season where it's like 12 and 12.
After watching him play in one game, the one thing I'm confident in is he's going to run a decent amount. He's a really tough dude to tackle, and his passing is the most accurate. Those are the big takeaways.
Yeah. I look. All right. We should stop talking. So what if there's any team? The other thing I would say is not that these bets are value, but if you can find a this team could lose all their games. I just think we're under like Gardner Minshew might be good for a game once they realize Anthony Richardson's not ready. But it's not
dude, Anthony Richardson's going to play the entire season. What makes you, why would they put Gardner Minshew in?
Cause Anthony Richardson's really like, they realize he can't play in the NFL yet.
What historical comparison would you make? Like if he's playing and they're shitty, then they're just going to take the better draft.
No, yeah.
Like the whole reason
is 0 wins in play if he's that bad.
I don't know. Just from watching him, that's not a guy who's gonna lose 17 straight games.
Have you checked out the rap video yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, all right. Yeah. Maybe you need to go a little deeper.
What do you got for the Colts, Ryan? What's your
AR-15 under I was building all the way up to say under 2,800 and a half passing yards, which
I mean, if he starts, do you
do the math, dude? Go do the math.
I am. Now, Ryan, you're the one who was peddling this conspiracy theory that Gardner Minshew was going to start week 1 when clearly that wasn't the case.
I was not. I was just asking questions.
No, you were telling everyone he was going to start.
I was asking questions.
I mean, Ryan, that's only 165 yards per game.
Yes.
If he plays all 17
so,
games.
I mean,
now again, you shouldn't do that math because like that always comes
would you
back.
say Justin Fields had a nice season for this kind of scenario? 2,242 yards.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty bad.
How is he getting to 2,800?
I mean,
you're even a stand. Like,
there's two ways to look at it. You could say, wow, it's pretty easy to get to 165 yards per game, or you phrase it the way you did. He would have to get 500 more passing yards than Justin Fields did last year. Yeah. That feels like a big mountain to climb.
That feels hard.
Yeah,
they are a dome team. Kind of.
No, I like the under on the passing yards, but again, fantasy football is all about rushing yards and rushing touchdowns.
I want to remind everyone this is a fantasy take.
Want now maybe we'll ask DraftKings code DGen if they could put out a prop bet that said Anthony Richardson will have more rushing yards than passing yards this season. Now that's probably insane.
Yeah. Well, is it?
Or no, actually, sorry. Will there be a game where Anthony Richardson, not the entire season, because that would be too much crazy variance. But how many games does he have more rushing yards than passing yards? If you had to guess.
I'm furiously looking up Justin Fields' game log from 2021.
Chat is lit. Brad Ward again. All eyes on Cleveland. Check out Brad's show if you're a Browns fan or Browns hater. I imagine you could enjoy some stuff there.
Yeah.
He's
works both ways.
He's pointing out Colts could be really bad. Wax to face saying Colts 2026 Super Bowl. That's how you know it's bad. If they're talking shit about a Super Bowl 3 years from now. 2026.
All right. So Justin Fields, his rookie year, unfortunately, I don't think he outperformed his arm with his legs any times.
What about last year?
The closest was he had a game where he threw for 175 and ran for 103. All right. Let me look at last year.
Because I feel like it's in play at least one game. Now I don't know what the odds. You would have to get decent plus odds.
God. All right, so he had a game where he rushed for 178 and threw for 123.
Yeah,
that qualifies.
Yep.
He also had a game where he rushed for 147 and threw for 167. But later in the season, Sean, he rushed for 132 and threw for 75.
We need to get this.
That's the kind of Anthony Richardson.
So
game.
I would say
this was his second year, though. This was the second year of Justin Fields.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to sit down and think about that for a second. So yeah. I'm full fade on Anthony Richardson. In fact, one of my only Anthony Richardson shares in Underdog, and I've actually gotten a couple since because I feel like Dalton poisoned me. But the joint team I did with Dalton, just like the Trey Lance team the year before, I mark it trash. As soon as Dalton gets off the stream, I mark it as trash.
Ryan,
yes.
They were just mentioned the Super Bowl in the chat. Of course, if you're looking to a game this year, you want some last second tickets, you want the best price, you got to check out Game Time. That's right. I mean, I'm going to be using Game Time, the app, when I make last second tickets to grab the Rams versus the Eagles in LA. Oh man, I was watching the Rams preseason game. It's hilarious. The Rams season ticket ads are just, it's just highlighting all the other teams that are coming to play the Rams this season, which is kind of sad for the Rams and LA fan bases in general. But this is why you can get some great value, because people are looking to unload their tickets in the last second. And again, that's how these things usually come together. You got some buddies in town, you're on the fence. Wait, who's in, who's out? Game Time is great for that. Snag tickets without the stress. Who needs that with Game Time? Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem the code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. If you're not, and it's not just sports. They got for concerts, comedy shows, theater. Yes. Again, we got some last minute theater
bunch.
Tickets.
It's a fucking rowdy bunch.
Promo code SGP and Game Time. Download that. Get ready to go. Go see some games. Kramer, what else we got in the AFC South?
All right, we our Titans. I think this year, not every year are we on the same side of the war here, and not every year are we on the same side as the great fans of Tennessee. I mean, one of the underrated cities of the NFL, I would say. I personally feel like maybe I give them too much shit for being one of these Southern new teams. And the teal colors make it it feels a little repetitive.
Southern new teams, they've been around for 25 years.
Oh yeah, I'm getting old. All right, I remember when they showed up in Madden with 99s across the board. But I think this year we come in a line that I think the entire world is turning into a bunch of NBA wannabe running. Let's just reboot everything every year, not reading between the lines that Mike Vrabel is a man who's not fucking around with next year. It's about this year. And so 7-5, 7.5 as a win total. And we both smash. I mean, you got Bruce Pearl available? Smash the over. You 12-5, Sean, very high.
Yes.
You've been spouting off some of the most fiery takes when it comes to the Tannehill stuff, and but I'm right behind you, 11-4. So I certainly think they're a team that is signaling like they are trying to win games now, and nothing about the quarter. Like when I read a preview that says, "Well, by this point in the season, Will Levis or Malik Willis will be in the game." What are you talking about? Have you not read anything? They are not even close to getting on the field.
No. And again, if in some ways I'm annoyed that they signed DeAndre Hopkins, because all the squares were like, oh yeah, I guess they are playing for real. Mike Vrabel always plays for real. A guy who says he's willing to cut his dick off doesn't know the word. Doesn't know the meaning of the word tank. He's not getting. There is no next year when you're ready to cut your dick off. Also, let's be real.
Think about what happened to the guy who traded AJ Brown.
Yeah.
You think Vrabel was happy with that?
No.
You don't think Vrabel smashed some door down and said, "Get this fucking guy out of here"?
Now the Treylon Burks injury, luckily it wasn't season ending. He's going to be back. He's going to be all right. But people forget. I'm looking at the NFL standings from last year.
How many games they win last year?
Well, they only won 7. Again,
they had the horrible season. Then they got to 7.
They are an interesting market for like most improved wins. But Tennessee Titans, I mean, they were 5-2 at one point last year, and the Jacksonville Jaguars were 2-6. And if you remember, how am I the only one that remembers that the Jacksonville Jaguars barely beat Josh Dobbs?
Yeah.
He was sitting there with a slide ruler and a TI-83 calculator trying to get to goddamn space earlier in the week, and he almost took down Goldilocks, aka Trevor Lawrence.
Feel like you're minimizing space a little bit there.
No, I mean it's tough. Almost, I don't know, harder to be an NFL quarterback who go to space.
That's a good point.
What I'm getting at is to make like the Jags had this unbelievable season. Yes, they finished strong. Yes, Trevor Lawrence did throw 4 interceptions at home in a playoff game, and yes, they still got the win. But come on, what are we talking about? Like, to just be completely out on the Titans makes no sense. Obviously, I like all the different positive Titans stuff. I was distilling it down, kind of looking of the futures, and check out the Titans preview pod. It was electric. My favorite one, I think, is Titans over 9.5 wins plus 250. Because even as a guy who's fading the Jags, and we'll get to that coming up here in a second, I think over 9.5 wins plus 250. You know, the division is only plus 310, so I kind of like 9.5 wins because again, you could win the division, you might not win the tiebreaker, whatever it is. 9.5 plus 250 feels so right for this Titans team.
Yeah, I like that. So you like that better than make playoffs because you think that bar isn't 9.
What's up?
I mean, you essentially it's a better value than make playoffs, and so
I think so. Yeah. Well, plus 250. I mean, what is their make playoff?
When we discussed it, it was 225. I think that's probably come down a bit now. So
yeah,
you know, to your point, I mean, is 9 wins getting in the AFC playoffs this year? We probably would have said no last year, and it was good last year.
Yeah, it's like again, that 7th spot. We don't have a ton of historical data on it, but looking back at Mike Vrabel, yeah, he won 7-10 last year, but 12-5 the year before, 11-5 the year before that, and then 2 9-7 years. And I don't know, man. This team is playing to win. Vrabel gets the most out of that defense.
Better question: Is this division under any circumstances getting 2 teams in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think there's a world where the Jags and the Titans get in. Yeah. I mean, I'm betting against it, but I you know, D Bettis in the chat saying, "Come on, man, Titans not that good. Benefits from soft division." Well, that's why I said the over 9.5. I mean, again, 4 games against a rookie head coach for Mike Vrabel. Like, I like our options.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. Both anyone in the South divisions, they have a lot of rookie quarterbacks too. So you certainly like the season. Just the team full of dogs too. We're football guys. That's why we like this team. I went big here because I bet this early, and I think this was even like a late night. I'm gonna pull up my bet log. This was even maybe a late night text to you. I might have sent the text like, "Hey, I found Tennessee like 66-1 to win the conference. That seems wrong compared to most other places." But yeah, that's the bet I would make. That's exactly how I would play the Titans. Because if they have that good year, I think they're going to be someone that's bullying teams around, and they're going to go in and play all these pass happy twinkle toes teams, and they're going to hit them in the mouth just like they have in the past. Now, will they have enough to get over the hump? Who knows? But if you're sitting with that kind of ticket in your pocket, you have some moves to make. Now, I'm not calling it hedging, but you'd have some serious moves to make.
You have some potential outs. Ryan, what about you? What's your favorite future prop for the Titans?
All right. Well, that's what it is. I'm taking the conference, and I'm also taking D-Hop. I mean, you nailed the point on him. I was surprised to see it at 4.5. Because if this team,
so wait, you're taking D-Hop
passing touchdowns
over 4.5.
4.5.
Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, I like that. I'm gonna amp it up one more. I'll say DeAndre Hopkins most receiving yards, 50-1.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Ryan,
I like. Do they have a most receiving touchdowns?
Yeah. DraftKings is great about these. They give you tons of stuff to bet on. Incredible menu, as the kids say. So receiving touchdowns, Hopkins is. I don't know.
He's not even on there.
It's weird. I don't see why he's not listed there, but he's 50-1 for receiving yards. I mean,
okay.
Last year he had a healthy quarterback for 16 games. He caught 115 passes for 1,400.
How many touchdowns?
6 touchdowns.
That was pretty bad situation.
Last year was a nightmare situation. He's still
6 touchdowns.
9 games. He got 3 touchdowns.
You don't think he's going to
before that 8?
How are you
6,
setting this
7, 11, 13?
Here's the problem though, Sean. You know who my number 1 receiver might be by the end of Underdog? It might be DeAndre Hopkins. Every time in the 4th round, I draft him. Every time in the 4th round, I draft him. And beginning of the 4th round, I draft him. End of the 4th round, I draft him.
When AJ Brown signed for the Eagles, I was like, this is an awesome signing. This is great. I love it because AJ Brown is a guy that makes quarterbacks look better. I mean, we've seen Kyler Murray. The times Kyler Murray has looked good. Why does he look good? Because he's throwing contested balls, probably balls he shouldn't be throwing to DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins gets him home. And the same thing happens with Ryan Tannehill. Why did Ryan Tannehill have some good years? Because he threw to a guy who was great at coming down with contested balls, AJ Brown. Now, AJ Brown, slightly different. He's a bigger physical guy, but DeAndre Hopkins, he's more like a, slide around guy. He's a guy that finds like these angles to get the passes and stuff like that.
He ran a slow 40 time, and yet here he is.
But he is perfect.
He's a route runner. He catches the ball.
He is perfect. Yeah.
Again, you don't sign this guy if you're not trying to win. It's simple.
I do like one guy, Nathan in the chat saying still balls deep in baseball season. Well, Nathan, thanks for Nathan is. Well,
Jesus, dude.
Nathan, we have the MLB Gambling Podcast giving out free daily picks. We got free daily picks on sportsgamblingpodcast.com, the SGPN app. So plenty of ways.
Bold move responding to him. I would have assumed baseball means something. Seems he balls deep in it. I don't know how.
So Ryan, you're taking the over receiving touchdowns for DeAndre Hopkins, which I think he's going to have a big role. Like they brought him in for a reason.
Again, you're not supposed to give out overs. Obviously, super sharp to have all these season unders, but 4.5. What are we doing here? And again, 4th round, give it to me. D-Hop every time.
Ryan, you know what else is super sharp? Signing up for Factor. If you're like me, the football season means, kind of a nightmare when it comes to preparing meals. Again, my wife does the cooking in the house, and then NFL season comes, and it's like, oh, what are we gonna do? You don't feel like going. I mean, think about all the times you eat shitty. It's because you don't have the time, the energy to prepare your own healthy meals. That's where Factor comes through. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Ryan, I know you dabble in veganism. They got you covered. I'm a keto man myself. The keto batch of food was delicious. They have gourmet plus options. They have a protein plus meals with 30 grams of protein per serving. That is guy throwing up racks like myself. You need that extra protein. They even have, I'm getting hungry reading this thing. 45 add-ons, including breakfast items, apple cinnamon pancakes, bacon and cheddar egg bites. This would be awesome. Because Ryan, think how many times we order food on football Sunday or college football Saturday. Almost every single time. Factor is great. Again, it's simple, easy to use. Get Factor. Enjoy eating well without the hassle, and you get a nice discount. Head to factorymeals.com/SGPN50. Use that code SGPN50 to get 50% off. Factorymeals.com/SGPN50 to get 50% off. Kramer, last team. What do we got?
I just learned something new, Sean. Maybe I'll share it with you later in the program. All right, Jackson.
Wait, you got breaking news? You said
I was just you mentioned keto diet, so I just teach him. I learned about the origin of the keto diet.
What about okay? Because breaking news that they're going to talk about Hurricane Hillary.
Oh no! We don't. We not for on air, but we might have breaking news.
Really?
We might have, they might be storming the castle, and they being fucking Hillary. I might have to be doing, a fucking real shit show. Speaking of shit shows, Jacksonville, I'm going to be as wet as those people in the hot tub later tonight as I'm fixing something on my roof. I have a feeling. Jacksonville 9.5. Obviously, the world's high on them. The nerds are high on them. The spreadsheet nerds, especially the fantasy community. I mean, it's gotten to the point where you basically you're drafting 4 of the 5, if you include Lawrence, 5 of their skill position players in the first 6 rounds of drafts. We've reached a fever pitch in Duval County. Duval. Again, 9.5. Both of us went under. You barely. 9 and 8, 7 and 10 for me. I mean,
7-10.
Obviously,
hot take, Ryan.
We always find ourselves. At least I typically find a couple where takes that I perceive to be public that are silly.
Yeah.
And this year, one of those is Jacksonville. The fact that their division price is similar to the Chiefs, is similar to the Niners. I guess that's more of a fair parallel. But
no, I guess the argument against it is that in the AFC West, there's more competition. But to me, the counter is, I mean, you know what you're getting with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson are the same known factors. I love Doug P. But again,
yes,
you saw it after he won the Super Bowl, kind of a slightly down year. Doug P struggles when he has tons of expectations. And Trevor Lawrence, I still don't think made that leap that everyone thought he did.
Think about it. All right. So the significance of the way we view Trevor Lawrence is based on the second half of the season and the second half of that playoff game. Because if the first half of the season only happens and the first half of the game only happens, you're like, this is horrible. So combining a great thing with a horrible thing doesn't create a great thing. And that's what we've done. We've applied recency. See, typically the nerds will tell you, you're applying recency bias and that's going to cloud your judge. That's what's happening here. And I don't understand the love of Trevor Lawrence. We've outlined, and now we're seeing the fluff coming out of Jacksonville about how he's taking over a leadership role. We highlighted this. We highlighted during recruitment why Trevor Lawrence chose to go to Clemson over his childhood team, Tennessee, because he didn't want to go somewhere where he would be relied on to have to be that leader, that culture changer. He was following Deshaun Watson, which is pretty fucking hilarious for other reasons. But I don't believe him to be that guy.
I'm not touching Deshaun Watson.
And while Doug P definitely opened up his abilities as a quarterback, which you're upgrading over Urban Meyer, of course it's going to look good. Is it ever going to look more good? Or you know what I mean? Like
gooder.
They're never going to look. Yeah, they're never going to look more gooder than the year after Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
And you're to your point, like
they
that
showed
that
a massive jump. I don't think they got another massive jump in them.
Like first year, you see Doug P wearing the visor with the weird sideshow bob hair popping out of the top of his head. You're like, oh, okay. And the second year, not a good look. So I am with. We have to fade. I was always going to fade the Jags this year. That's where I'm going to warn the people. I was always going to fade them. So
think what the narrative would be. Not I mentioned it a million times. The narrative if they didn't have that miraculous playoff comeback against the Chargers, if the Chargers didn't charge,
is Trevor Lawrence franchise quarterback? That's the question.
If on January 7th of this year, the Jaguars lost to the Titans, they barely won that game. They won 20-16 at home in a must-win playoff game against the Tennessee Titans team that had been eliminated. I mean, Josh Dobbs was 20 of 29, 179, touchdown, interception.
It was Josh Dobbs also.
And they gave Derrick Henry 30 carries. They just loaded the box. Like they had the easiest blueprint on how to beat the team. And they barely won that game.
You know who wasn't on the roster to start the season for the Tennessee Titans?
Hassan Haskins was getting carries.
Josh Dobbs wasn't on the roster. I mean, I get it. Things didn't work. Yeah, it's my
you could make a case they probably should have lost that game. They were outgained 312 yards from the Titans to 222 yards of the Jaguars. I mean,
that's
the only real difference. The Jaguars had 19 rushing yards at home in a must-win situation. You're giving them the division. It's bonkers.
Yeah. Well, and not only are they giving them the division, they're touting it as if it's a very, very fucking strong play. This is I mean, -1
slam dunk.
Think about what that indicates. That type of division price.
Yeah,
we don't see them that much. So yeah, I mean, but you know what? I actually think the way you fade them, because they're being given the respect of an elite offense.
Yeah,
and they're not. 410.5 under giving out a season.
I mean, I was just gonna go with their under 9.5 wins, which I like, but I'm going to step it up and give you some plus odd action. Give me Jags miss playoffs at plus 165. Kramer,
you told me I was spicy. That's
well, you got
spicy.
them 7-10. I assume you also don't make playoffs.
I love it. I would absolutely piggyback that. If I haven't already, I would piggyback on that. But yeah, the under. I specifically recommend everyone go check out the season points market, because I do think it's a fun way to fade a team without having to worry about the outcome of the game. I mean, look, maybe the Jags get lucky because they're in a crappy division and they play another crappy division. But do I think they're good to score 24.5 points a game or whatever it is? No, I do not. I do not think Trevor Lawrence will sustain that consistency.
Well, and coming back to Trevor Lawrence, we've had a lot of fun and some success here. Obviously, love Dak to throw the most picks at 10-1, but the price maybe has gotten away from us because it's so obvious. But Trevor Lawrence most interceptions 40-1. Again, did you see how bad that pick was in the preseason game? Again, it's preseason, but also you shouldn't be throwing that interception. Now, he threw 17 his rookie year. He only threw 8 in the regular season last year, but then he had a bunch, obviously 4 in that playoff game. And I think he had he had 5 total. So he had 4 against the Chargers, 1 against the Chiefs, and then 1 in the preseason game. He's heating up when it comes to interceptions. I love Trevor Lawrence over at DraftKings, promo code DGen, to throw the most interceptions at 40-1. That just feels
cosign.
Yes.
I mean, I have the exact same one, because I do think we've done a good job. I mean, again, I have this kind of running diary where I just have some like preseason notes to always remember. And last year, one of my additions was look at the interception market early, because they're just fucking off on this shit.
Yeah.
And so, but what do you need on top of a propensity to throw interceptions? You also need the leash. And there is CJ Beathard or Beathard is not taking the, maybe Nathan Rourke, maybe he's got him a little nervous in the locker room with all that testosterone, but
he has the leash. He has the situation where they're going to probably be throwing a bunch, and he has the issues. Like, I don't know. I just sense a complacency with this Jacksonville Jaguars team. To me, they dumped the Gatorade when they got to the playoffs, and they hung around with the Chiefs. So hats off to them. And they did get that win against the Titans, et cetera, but I didn't see a dominant team, and this team is being priced as if it was a dominant team, Ryan. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And the Brad pointing out, they spent all the money last year. So
yeah,
that was a big reason for that jump forward, is like we see every year, is that they spent the most off season money. So look, I unfortunately, there's probably no Jags fans out there that are going to come at us, but it does. I do want to hear the count. Like, obviously the counter argument is they've created some sort of super team with Calvin Ridley, and we didn't really mention the other Tank in the division, Tank Bigsby. We're going to get 2 Tank versus Tank. All right. So which network gets the graphic better? Like I mean, we're going to have a Tank
on Tank. And I did
twice. We're gonna have some sick. If Monday Night Football if Monday Night Football has it, we're gonna see some ridiculous Tank graphics.
Ryan, you reminded me of one of the many best ball teams I have. Of course, if you haven't signed up with Underdog Fantasy, Best Ball Mania right around the corner. First place gets $3 million. I love Tank Bigsby. I was giving out Tank Bigsby pre-draft, Ryan, where we were
sharp.
I mean, part of it, admittedly, was I thought Tank was a badass name. Yeah. He ended up in a situation in Jacksonville, which I think is perfect. They keep talking about how Travis Etienne is a between the 20s kind of guy, which is not what you want to draft in fantasy. So I love Tank Bigsby. His price is getting steamed up. I still like it.
4.1% only for me.
Yeah,
I gotta up that, right?
I gotta check my ownership percentage, but I definitely have some early on. I was saying Underdog, they should have a column of what his current ADP is, and then what your average ADP you got him at to show how sharp you are.
Yeah, so there are some plugins out there that have like literally overlay that information.
Oh, okay.
Feels like an enhancement to me. I'm all natural. By the way, Tank Dell is number 1 in my tank ownership.
Also, we're going to be breaking down some of their season long pick'em, their over under for player fantasy stuff. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN, 100% deposit bonus up to $100 if you haven't got in over there yet. Kramer. So wait, you gave out your
yeah, we have the same player prop.
I mean, that player prop is just so fun. What about let's
doesn't feel like a 40-1.
Yeah. No, I mean, that should be like 25.
So by the way, to recap, then we're not changing anything in this division. You have
I took one less win off the Texans.
Oh wow.
I've already updated the sheet.
Okay.
I took them from I had them 6-11 in the team preview.
I see.
And I knocked it down to 5-12.
Got it. All right. Look at that. Live updating everywhere. This sheet is dynamic.
Well, again, if you bet the under 6.5,
it's the same.
Yeah.
I like how you took one away though. That feels almost mean. But to recap, that's 1 over, 3 unders in the division for you.
Yes.
2 overs and 2 unders for me. Obviously, it's AFC South stand here. Appreciate y'all for coming.
So I'll just rattle through all the favorite stuff, and again, go back and check out the team previews. If you haven't, certainly we went hard on a bunch of these teams. For Jags, my future is Jags miss playoffs. Prop is Trevor Lawrence most interceptions. And go to youtube.com/sports gambling podcast. Producer Josh nailing it with a sweet graphic. For the Titans, I like Titans over 9.5 wins plus 250. DeAndre Hopkins most receiving yards 50-1. Colts under 6.5 wins. AR 15 15-1. That works out perfectly. Most quarterback rushing touchdowns for the Texans under 6.5 wins. Dameon Pierce 35-1. Most rushing yards. Kramer, how say you?
Hard fade to the Jags, like you, Trevor Lawrence, 40-1 most interceptions, under 10.5 for their season points. I like the division and the conference for the Titans. DeAndre Hopkins over 4.5 touchdowns. That's I know all touchdown props feel easy when you like a player, but that one feels especially easy. Colts fewest wins 14-1. I feel like we're gonna have a couple bullets in this race, much like an interception prop, where like the favorites 10-1.
Yeah, and I think
we're hitting one.
And from the Colts team preview, I did give out start 0-5, and the Colts fans immediately slid into my mentions and pointed out.
Oh no, we gave out last winless team.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Last winless team.
Last winless team.
Because
18-1. Again, lists of props on every show. So definitely. Josh, throw that back up on the screen one more. Last and then where was I at? 14-1 for fewest wins. AR 15 under 2,800 passing yards is silly. Again, Sean, even you like.
No, I mean
we're betting this at the Circa when we go out there.
My gut instinct says that was low, but then you walked me through it.
It's very high,
very high.
And then for the Texans, give me the double Stroud and Anderson both to win Rookie of the Year. Stroud's still floating around.
Now this is where responsible co-hosting would. All right,
and then my fun.
Hold your horses.
Oh, this you know what? This is a fun long shot. The Texans and the Titans exact a box 20-1.
All right, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Sean. What do you want to be one of these shows that gives out nothing but minus 110? Well, actually 108. You can get 108. I gave out
a 40-1, a 50-1,
you did great.
15-1, 35.
So no I in team. I don't know why you're getting defensive.
We gave out hopefully a bunch of winners there. Hey, again, get that sweet college football bonus. DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that promo code DGen. That's right. And big thanks to all our sponsors. Circa Sports going to be there this Thursday through Saturday. Sign up for the Circa Millions contest. Of course, Underdog Fantasy. Get the 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And game time tickets, promo code SGPN. Get $20 off. And Factor Meals. Factormeals.com/SGPN50. Get 50% off. And shout out to the patrons. Including Jake Paquin won this week's pick'em. got home with a sweet $75 SGPN gift card. We'll announce this week's prize. It's going to be a college football themed prize because we're going hard for week 0 college football picks. Get in there, get the season win totals for the NFL. $1,000 cash up for grabs, and the bonus SGP Stories podcast dropping today at some point, aka Monday. So get in sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean. Second the money green. He's Ryan.
Keto diet originally created to battle epilepsy.
Kramer, let it ride.